So first off, I love that picture in the background. It looks a lot like the header image that I used for our post in the first episode that we did together a couple of years ago. So I just thought that was really cool in alignment. It was like a wooded area with it was dark and it was had some lights in it. It was which
Oh my
doesn't
God.
exist anymore, the article and whatnot. I took the whole website down because, again, we were talking a second ago about how you do something for a really long time, and a lot of us, especially type A individuals, especially entrepreneur type individuals, we get so dedicated. And you look up how to make these things successful, and it says commitment, dedication. Um, there's another word that's slipping my mind at the moment, but we get so stuck on having to do it over and over again that even when it's no longer working for us and no longer in alignment with us, we keep having that dedication to that thing because we think consistency looks different than what it actually does. And we feel bad for like, oh, if I let it go, I've been doing this for uh 10 years, if I stop doing it, does that mean that I'm a sellout, a fake, I didn't stick with it, I didn't yada yada, whatever, whatever. And, but again, the only constant is change, and we have to honor that and understand that consistency doesn't look as concrete as we think it does.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Like, as you're saying that, the things that are coming up for me are the fact that I was just speaking this weekend at an event about one of my methodologies that we use in the business, and which is around transformation and evolution. And we're always doing this all the time. And the point being more that, like, but also we have our own operating systems, right? And we have to learn our own operating systems. And for me, consistency actually can be very draining in the traditional sense of consistency, right? Like, I'll use the example that about a month ago, I was like, that's it. I want to be strong. I'm choosing, I'm going to be strong. The only thing I really need to do is like do 5 push-ups every morning and 10 sit-ups, right? Or whatever that is. Like, I only have to do it this small amount every single day. Like, it'll take 2 minutes. I am incapable of doing that.
Yep, me too.
I can't do it. It is not how my operating system works. I I can do probably 3, maybe 5 days of that, and then I'm out. I burn out. It is boring. It is not motivating to me. I can't do it anymore. And so we were just talking about that small example of how important it is to understand not just that change is happening and that consistency or dedication or devotion or all those things are true, but also what does that look like for me specifically versus either others or what the world might tell us it's supposed to look like, right? So I'm just laughing to myself because I'm like, oh, I should think about that in the business too, that like that's why I can't schedule social media posts.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just can't do it.
And not only like what does it look like for me, but what does it look like for me right now in this time of my life? Because I was talking to a friend the other day about how different my business is now versus 10 years ago when it started. And in a way, I've been, for the past year or so, I've been kind of struggling mentally and emotionally, like with, am I doing like everything I could be doing? And even my husband, he's like, "What happened? Did you give up?" And I'm like, "No, what do you mean?" And he's like, "You don't work on your computer near as much as you used to." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is there not stuff to do on there?" I was like, "There's always stuff to do on there. That's never ending. It's like the dishes or the laundry. It's you never find the bottom of that. If you do, it's for like 10, 15 minutes, an hour if you're lucky, and then it just starts going again." And like I used to get up at 5 a.m. every morning just to work on my computer. And well, the funny thing is that sometimes you can try too hard and
Mhm.
you can put you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but there's also a thing of like having too many baskets is a thing.
Yes.
So doing less is when I actually found that more started happening.
Mm,
So, you just have to always come back to what your priorities are right now and what that looks like. Because I fell into, of course, that same entrepreneurial box that many of us fall into of, okay, I want to be successful so that I can take care of my family and my family can have nice things and they can do the things and we can do the things together and everybody's going to be so happy about it and yada, yada, yada. But then you miss out on like you could already go ahead and start doing those things
yeah.
before you find the success.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of my doing less has been because I finally realized that I could just enjoy my family now instead of waiting until and
Yeah.
prioritizing them now instead of waiting until. And when you do less and you prioritize those other things more, not only are you happier and you have more energy to work on those things, but you're also able to prioritize what actually matters in the business part because you're like, well, I only have an hour to work on things today. What is the most important thing I can do in that hour?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, 1,000%. I mean, I have been on a similar journey, right? And I think as builders and people who want to bring things into the world, creatrixes, if you will, or whatever that is, it's really hard. I think of it especially from like a builder perspective, right? Like I want to do this, I want to bring this thing into the world, and there are many steps to that process. And I often actually spend time, well, this is a daily practice. It is. I do have some daily practices. Maybe not every day, and that's okay. I can have some grace for myself that that's not how I work, but
That's not how the world works either, because as
yes.
soon as you make a concrete plan of you're going to do this, then you're going to do that, then you're going to do that, the universe, life is just going to be like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, good idea. But I do have a pretty significant gratitude practice. I've always had it. I just kind of named it more for myself and recognizing that I do this, and so that I kind of bring more intentionality to it. But I love my life right now. And this is actually a dream life from before. Like, I have a family with two kids and a dog. And there was a time in my life where that was my ultimate dream. That
Hmm.
was like the thing that I wanted so desperately bad that I just couldn't even make happen, right? And so wait a minute, why am I trying to skip to the next dream? And instead, let me just have extreme gratitude for like the thing that is real right now that I dreamt about for forever.
Hmm.
And um, and also in that moment, from like an entrepreneurial perspective, when you are building something and you do know that there will be growth and phases, you may not know how yet, right? But as you know that that's going to happen, you won't get this moment back, right? Like that, like, I want to get up and work at 5 a.m. in the morning and I am bursting with ideas. Like that does shift. And that doesn't mean it's good or bad, right? But when you're building something, the creativity of each phase looks different. And like there will be a moment in the future where I look back and say, oh, remember when we had to do it this way because we didn't have whatever, right? Like it's kind of cool to sit in that moment and be like your future self looking back at you, being like, remember how great this like craziness was? And I
Yeah.
don't think we really like allow ourselves the space and time often to have that moment in the moment
Hmm.
of, man, I am like hand tooling all the things right now. And I don't want it to be like this forever, but like it's special in and of itself too.
Hmm. Makes you
Yeah.
feel scrappy.
Yeah. Right? Like this is where that devotion comes from, right? Like your hands doing the thing or whatever that is. It's very I don't even know if it has a word for it.
Raw.
Um yeah. Yeah, real. And that's the only thing
Hmm.
that like it's just very real. And you can have dreams for how it will evolve, but like it will be different then.
Well,
Yeah.
it's going to be different than what you dream it to be anyway. So the quicker we can let go of the ideas of what we think it's going to look like and just exist in the moment.
Oh my God.
You know, you asked me earlier, what's different with me. And I'm like, man, everything is always changing. Excuse me. And I get really stuck on you formulate your business one way, and then that works for, I don't know, 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer, maybe less, who knows. And then when things start to shift, there's almost like a panic because it's like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? We were doing this and it was working. Why is that not working anymore? I don't understand. What do you mean we're going over here now? I wasn't trying to go over there. And I keep saying business just because me and you can relate to that, but it goes in every aspect of life. It doesn't matter the category. Uh, we expect it to look a certain way, and then we find something that starts working for us, you know. And we are consistent with that for a little while, and then it stops working for us, and we want to hold on to that. But if we just embrace the free fall of life, because that really is all it is, we have this moment, and that is it. We don't know what the next moment holds. All we can do is manage our stress levels and try to find peace and happiness right now
Yep.
and keep our energy levels in check and close at hand so that we can make good decisions as things present themselves. There's the law of attraction gets a lot of flack these days because people forget that there's actually 12 laws and not just the one.
Yeah.
And
Forget,
so
don't know, didn't receive that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they missed on that one.
Yeah.
S- The so there's one that's inspired action. So, if you're really following the law of inspired action, then you can't really plan anything at all. You can kind of like abstractly hope that it goes in this direction or that direction, but when it shows up in a completely different direction, you just like, "Oh, okay." And follow it that way. And that's how things unfold. And it sounds so counterintuitive because we've been conditioned to put everything in boxes and live very right angly, but nothing's right angly in real life. And the more we try to make things right angly, in our understanding and our boxing and our decision making and our planning and our dedication to the consistency of things, regardless to how we feel, the more out of whack we get because it's more of a spiral loop-de-loop.
hmm I thank you for saying this, first of all, for me personally, but also just in general, because it is the thing that has been really present of what I have been speaking to others lately, which feels really interesting to receive it this way in this moment, which is take an action. And I actually have, there's so many layers happening for me in this moment, but I take action like all the time. And a lot of times I am, I have to be careful to take action too fast. I do take action too fast sometimes, right?
Right.
But also that inspired action, like you can't mess it up if you are moving forward with an intention and trying something, right? And in the like corporate business world, there's like all this lingo around failing fast, which I don't like that language, but the concept of like try, take a risk, try it, right?
Something,
We've
anything.
been so
Yeah.
conditioned to like not like you have to figure it all out first and
Mhm.
then do. And that's actually the opposite of how I've built my business. And it's fascinating because I've actually built my business backwards.
Hmm.
That feels really good. Also, like really shameful sometimes because the old world, like, kind of could I do receive sometimes some projections of like I've done it wrong, which
Hmm.
I don't think is true in any way, shape, or form. And I know that there's lots of people that don't see it that way either, but it is an energy that's out there that's really challenging because when you take an action and you take a risk and you do something, you don't know where it's going to lead you, which is how it's supposed to work. And at the same time, there's a whole world constructed at the moment, which is like, no, you weren't strategic enough. You didn't do this enough. You didn't get
Hmm.
enough, whatever all those things are. And that's really, really challenging to work against that grain that is so prevalent and like really honoring the fact that you're gonna feel that even if nobody's even saying it to you. Like it's just really, really thick right now.
Mhm. I understand completely.
Right? And yet, personally, my experience in taking every inspired action that I have taken and feeling like an utter crazy person at multiple, like every day, like literally
Same.
every day, it's working. And it is not how I expected. And as soon as I let go a little bit more to just like, I think of it as like pattern hunting, right? Like, okay, I'm going to take the action and then I'm going to see what happens. And then I have enough discernment and judgment at this point to be able to say, okay, this isn't working, this is working, or that feels too hard still. What should be the next action, right? And I actually talk about it a lot as unboxing. Like I keep finding myself in boxes. And I'm like, okay, what box is this? And why are we boxed in? Okay, unbox myself. And we've just been unboxing to make it simpler, easier, less friction, less density. Like, why are we stuck in this box? Who constructed this box? How can we not be in this box and just release ourselves from that?
Mhm.
Um, and that's been like one of the most impactful things in the business, to just be aware of that and just look for that energy in the space and just say no. Like that can be an inspired action too, right? It's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be in this box. I don't have to play in whatever tech box, conversation box, community box, partnership box, whatever that happens to be. So that's just been really like present for me. And I feel like the biggest energy I've had lately is wanting to connect with people who want to take action,
Mhm.
that don't need to have all the answers in order to take action. And people have asked me like, well, who are you looking for right now? Or what, whatever this happens to be. I'm like, honestly, people who are ready to go. That's
Yeah.
it. Small. I don't care. Like, but those people that are like, yeah, I can see that. I want to take that action and try. I'm like, those
Mhm.
are the people that I want to connect with. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else. Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay to be in a box. It's okay
Yeah.
to be in a box. Boxes work sometimes for a while, and then again, we get concreted into this box even after it's served its purpose and no longer works for us, but we feel loyal to the box now. And the box has become family.
Yes.
And we feel like we're betraying the box if we decide to leave it. And now we're a renegade. Oh man. But sometimes it's okay to be that, to know when things are no longer working and understand when resistance starts showing. And again, the only constant is change. So it may work for a while, and then you have to be in alignment and in tune with your own energy to be able to recognize when resistance starts showing up so that you can
Yeah.
question it and detour, maneuver.
Sometimes like your box doesn't have to fundamentally change in a lot of ways. Maybe just push the walls out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Give yourself a little more breathing room, right? Like how you move through a box like doesn't have to look the same as everybody else either, right?
Mhm.
Like maybe it's just one wall. I need it to be a rectangle rather than a square, right? Like thinking about just bringing the awareness to where you are and what's working in that capacity. Like there could be nothing wrong, and that's okay. And sometimes you just need the awareness that, hey, wait a minute, this is working, and that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting out of
Uh,
your own way, though, is a big aspect of those things for sure. How I navigate all of that you were talking about, because it can get really suffocating when you're like, oh, they say I'm supposed to do it like this, and am I trying my best? And is there more that I can do? And the answer is probably yeah. Yeah, we
yeah.
could all do more. All
Yeah,
of
sure.
us.
Yes.
But our society and culture has been designed around productivity and the value of producing and doing more and doing more and doing more. And in that, we've lost the fact that the rest and restoration, the recovery is equally as important, or else
Mhm.
again, you meet burnout.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, You were kind of talking about this a little bit too, which is the trust that you need to have in building your own thing and things aligning to you, right? Like some of those laws of attraction, that the inspired action is important, and identifying that, and also the trust that there are things outside of your viewpoint that are happening potentially for you that
Hmm.
you just can't see, right? Like you can't. And that's really, well, at least for me personally, it's really hard. I want to see them. Like, just let me know that they're happening. And leaning further and further into that trust, which allows for the rest, which allows for the taking the pedal off or the foot off of the gas, um, is very, very, very challenging in the world we live in. And the more I do it, the quicker, the faster, and the more supportive it is.
Hmm.
And I can give you an example from literally this week, which is, and one of the women that works with me, she was like, I just keep like, we're on a slide. Like it's happening. Instead of leaning forward and stopping yourself trying to do things, lean back and enjoy the ride, right? Like you'll go faster, it'll be smoother. Stop sticking extremities out, right? To slow you down because you don't know where you are or why it's moving the way it is.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not okay. We took a corner, right? And I have so many examples at this point of me thinking about a thing that, yeah, I could do, right? I had a thought this week. Okay, this thought has been in the back of my head for so long. Why haven't I done it? Why haven't I done it? And I'm beating myself up about why I haven't done it. And I'm like, that's it. This week, we're doing it. I don't care if it's messy. I don't care if it's terrible. We're taking the action. I have this thought. What is today? Thursday. I have this thought Monday night. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, Tuesday morning, we're doing this. Tuesday morning, my tech lead sends me a note, and she had already done it without me asking or saying anything, right? And not exactly how I was thinking about it. Way better, quite frankly, because that's her role. But she just started like a week ago. And the trust that like, okay, I'm having this thought and like this needs, okay, this is where we need to move. This is the direction. This is what feels like is like calling me in that direction. And also, I don't have to do everything myself.
Mhm.
But when you start like allowing it all to work with and for you, you can take a deep breath. And I
Mhm.
know that may be like super, super out there for a lot of people. I don't know. I know that the more I focus on, or not focus, not even focus, it's like holding the energy of what I want to create, releasing the expectations, as you said in the beginning, right? Like, I don't know what this is going to look like, but like, this is what feels true to me. And like, I can feel that this is going to come into the world. It does.
Mhm.
And I don't have to like do it.
Literally like magic, which is crazy for sure. But it's crazy for all of us to believe, even those of us who believe it and
I know.
experience it. We're just like, yeah, I don't know.
It's like, can that really just happen? Like, I'm really thinking, I was like, what's happening while I'm sleeping? Because she's in the Netherlands. I'm like, what's happening while I'm sleeping and you're working? What is happening right now? Are you stepping into my dreams and pulling these things out of my thoughts? Like, seriously.
So, a fun story, a fun like magic story that I have that it's similar but not at all the same. Uh, my Calendly, which is what I use to schedule podcasts and meetings and all of the things, has recently stopped sending me email notifications when someone schedules with me, which is a problem. And I haven't really had a whole lot of time to look into. I've looked into it a little bit, but for the most part, I've just been checking my Calendly pretty regularly, keeping it like it's been a permanent tab on my computer for a month now because, you never know. And we went camping this weekend, which means that I was away from my computer for an extended amount of time. And so I pulled up everything today just because I was going to do some editorial stuff. And I was like, well, let me double check Calendly real quick and saw that you had scheduled this. an hour before we were supposed to be on there, and I had no idea. And I just love how things like that happen to me all the time. It's like it gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And I trust that if it's meant to work out, then it will. And if it's not meant to work out, then it won't. And it's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
You just try again. And if that doesn't work out, like, I've had people that I've tried to schedule a podcast with, and we have to reschedule it like 3 or 4 different times because of crazy things like power outages and storms come through and now there's a tornado warning. Sorry. Just like crazy things. And when we finally do get to the call, it's so much better than it would have been because not only like were things off like universally that day, but like maybe I didn't feel super great that day or I was busy and just kind of trying to like shove it into the schedule or
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I have a similar story where I was on another friend's podcast a week or so ago, and I she had sent it to me in like July, maybe even earlier than that. And I was like, okay. And then finally, like it took me weeks to even get to look at the calendar. And then it was like end of school, summer, school starting, like all this craziness. I was like, I'm gonna do it that day. I was like, no, I'm gonna do it that way. I even booked it. I booked it on the wrong day. I had to schedule it again. Like I did all these things and I moved it into like the middle of September. I was like, I will be able to breathe once I get there. I don't know why, but that's where it feels best. And I did that and I was like, thank God that is when I did it. Because it would have been a totally different conversation. And not that it would have been bad, but like what felt true to be able to speak to in that particular instance felt way better at that moment than it would have for the 3 or 4 times I tried to squeeze it in before. And even this week, Tuesday, somebody had scheduled time for me with me on our like community workshop thing. And all the things just hadn't like aligned around it. I could have given myself a lot of shame, guilt, etc. And then I end up taking my daughter to school. She has an epic meltdown. I am in front of her building for 2 hours helping her. And I get a text from the person I'm supposed to be meeting with in 10, 15 minutes. She's like, I canceled. Like, this is coming up for me, da da da, da, all these different things. And well, let's just find a different time. And I was like, yes, thank you. I don't even have to cancel it. Like, I don't
Mhm,
even have to take that leap. Like, it just wasn't meant to happen today. And
mhm,
like, I can just trust that that is just going to work the way it's meant to work.
mhm. Or like it gets pushed out and it turns out that you had this whole experience in between where you were supposed to talk to him and when you actually talked to him. And that one experience was the key to the whole podcast being like
Epic rather
transformative.
than, yeah, yes, exactly. That's kind of like that other one. I was like, oh my God, like what we're here to talk about today clicked into place last week. So I
Hmm.
would never have been able to talk about this until last week. So,
Hmm.
yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even things that don't feel connected are conspiring in your favor. Like, for the past year, I've been entirely too obsessed with pickleball. And absolutely have let other responsibilities fall to the wayside and move to the back burner just so I can go play pickleball, which has really no benefits to business or anything other than like physical exercise. But it's been really surprisingly beneficial in a lot of different ways that I could have never dreamed of, right? And the key was that I just allowed myself to continue doing what makes me happy instead of like forcing myself to stick over here and do this thing that I don't really want to do because I'd rather be out there playing and moving my body and I kind of need to move my body, yada yada. But instead of fighting it, I just let myself go play. And that has been it is unfolded in a lot of different areas of my life other than physical activity as in the form of making local connections. So I never expected it to be like a networking. I don't think I even understood exactly how networking worked until the past year. So I don't have the best social understandings of things in a people communication type of way. But so I've had all of these opportunities for yoga in the community pop up through pickleball. Um, the community aspect that I've always, because that's what me and you talked about on our last episode was community, and that was something I was super excited to talk with you again because we agree that we've kind of lost the sense of community over the past few decades, and I think a lot of us are understanding that that is one of the biggest factors in lack of community is one of the biggest factors in everyone's poor mental health and isolation and honestly mental health and emotional health flows into physical health. So a lot of different problems in our society and culture from a individual level in all the way up to a grand scheme level can be fixed with getting back to community. And pickleball has been a wonderful direction for that because there's a low bar of entry. You just need a paddle and some shoes. And from there, it's pretty much free because there's always tons of people to play with in your area, probably.
Yeah. Right? And like it doesn't require like extreme athleticism to be able
No, I
to.
have 77-year-olds kicking my butt regularly. Regularly. I had a ladies' league yesterday, and the leader of it walked over. I was the youngest person on my court. The league, you play 6 games back to back with the same 4 people, and two games with each partner. And then whoever's the top person for that day moves up, and then whoever's the bottom person moves down. So that's kind of how that goes. I was the youngest person by 20, 30 years on my court, and I moved down. The leader of who runs it and puts it all together walked over. She was like, "Savannah, you being nice to your elders, you respecting your elders today?" I was like, "They are kicking my butt." And she was like, "Y'all better watch Savannah. She's really athletic." I was like, "Not today." So yeah, super low bar of entry. If you tell me like, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that," yeah, you probably can. You probably can.
Yeah.
Don't give up on yourself.
Right, right. Well, first of all, like who says you're saying you can't do it?
You're
Then
the only one who can say.
yeah, exactly. Right. Oh my gosh, I love that. And yes, there is so much around community that like continues to unfold for me that it's so vital and we don't know how to do it. And when we sometimes the ways that we try to attempt it actually push us. I mean, nothing's actually pushing us backwards ever, but that feeling of like I attempted
Mhm.
something, right? Or I
Then you
tried to join a
quit
group.
because there's safety in solitude. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap.
Mhm. I think you're absolutely right,
I sure
right?
did for a long time.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap, especially in the world we live in, because there's faux community, right? There's
Mhm.
faux, as in Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever those things are, or even the news, right? That can create this
Mhm.
sense and feel of community, but it's not the real thing, because the real thing can be uncomfortable.
Sure can. There's
Yeah.
going to be conflict. There's
Mhm.
going to be unsurety. Like, like they're usually my friend and they're usually really friendly, but today they're acting like they hate me. Did I do something wrong? And instead of, we don't know how to confront people anymore and be like, hey, everything okay? We internalize it.
Yeah,
We
we
take our
assume.
own insecurities and we assume we must be the issue. And to do everyone a favor, we're just going to go away.
Yes. When actually it could be like, you know what? I rolled my ankle walking out the door this morning and am in a little bit of pain, and that's why I'm kind of off and not engaging with you today. And that has absolutely zero, nothing, nil to do with you.
Or I
And
got a
actually,
lot on my mind. There's a lot
yeah,
going on in my personal life, and I'm just kind of stuck in my head.
yeah,
I'm not
I'm
even
like
noticing you
ruminating.
today. I'm sorry. It's not personal.
Right, exactly. Like, and sometimes even. I may have all that happening and I still showed up, and you may be feeling that, but actually you're giving me life right now because you're there too, right? I might not be able to articulate it in this moment. I might not even be able to like express that to you, but like I got here and you being here is actually supportive for me, even though I'm a sourpuss right now, right? Like, so I think, but that's uncomfortable. You're right. We've lost a lot of those skills of like, something's off with you. Are you okay? Like, there's almost too much sensitivity sometimes. Like, how do we cross that barrier in a way
And
that's
it can be
like,
scary because if you ask the wrong person
mhm,
how they're doing and if they're okay, you may open a whole can of worms that gets you stuck there for an hour or two. And you just, it can be scary. It can.
right,
But, you know, exercising those skills is the only way we're gonna
get better.
figure it out.
Right, exactly. Like, I think you're right because every time you have one of those, right, all of those things are happening for us. So, like, can I trust that if I do get stuck here for an hour or 2 hours, then like this was the best use of my time right now? And that's okay. Even if all these other things feel like they would have been better uses of time, like
Hmm.
or like in that moment, like, am I not holding a strong enough boundary? And so next time
Hmm.
this happens, I'll be able to say, I can stay until, and then hold that stronger boundary, right? Like each of these, so that's why the inspired action has to happen. Like you have to do the thing because you won't get better at it. You won't be able to know, oh, I would love to ask that question, but I actually can't receive the answer today, but maybe I can do it a different way, right? Like all that fine tuning of how to interact with other people, how to hold your own boundaries, like that only happens by trying.
Hmm. And like luckily we do have all of these forms of communication now. So if you don't have the time right now, or you can text them later and be like, "Hey, I noticed you were off. Is everything okay?" And then texting gives us a little bit more wiggle room with boundaries and time frames and stuff. And then like holding the boundary in person, you're like, I only have like I can see that you're having a really hard time right now, and I hate that I have to go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do really have to go, and I can text you later, I can call you later,
Yeah.
check in
We
something,
check
or
in
I'll
with,
see you tomorrow, or I'll see
right,
you
right.
Wednesday, we'll catch
Or let's
up.
find a specific time when that works for both of us to check in on that, right? Like I have a friend who had something she was doing on Tuesday this week, and I knew it was really important to her, and she told me about it Friday night. And I was like, I really would love to be able to say, good luck today. You're going to do great, da 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 da. And I was like, I will not remember that
Nope,
Tuesday morning.
me
I
neither.
just won't.
Will not.
I just won't. And then I will shame guilt myself for all reasons that are not necessary.
Yep.
But I have technology. And so I pre-scheduled my text message to her and said, I really want this to send at this time. Like, I'm thinking of you. You're going to rock it today. Good luck. Like, I'm proud of you. And that's all.
Yep.
Right? So like use it as a tool for yourself. Like it can be really helpful. Or even if you're in that moment and you're leaving that person right then and there, like you could even do that and say like, okay, I want to schedule this text or this email to send in 3 hours or in 5 hours or whenever that could be, right? That's like, hey, just
Mhm.
wanted to check in on you, still thinking about you. And I think we can use a lot of technology to our advantage to support us rather than kind of what's can be happening right now, which is like overload.
Overload. Yes. It's all about how you use it. Anything and everything on this in this life is both negative and positive. I don't like using bad and good
Oh,
because they're human constructs and can be objective and subjective depending on who the individual is that you're talking to with. So, negative and positive though, positive and negative. Everything has both. It's the yin and the yang. It's the lesson of the balance between the two.
yep.
And yeah, having discipline in those areas can be really hard. Moderation is key, and putting fail safes in for yourself so you can redirect. Because most of our problems is the human squirrel brain. We get distracted and we don't realize it's been an hour, or we don't realize we've been on Facebook for that long, or and
Right.
then you go look at your daily or your weekly phone usage, and it's like, wow, I spent 14 hours on Facebook this week, and I thought I didn't have time to do that other thing.
Huh, that's interesting.
It was crazy.
I know. As you're talking about that and like the social well-being, I just think about like all the different areas of well-being, and social well-being is such an important one. And what feels so important is learning your operating system about what social environments feel safe for you right now, right? Like if you've been spending all this time, like I'm just thinking about what you're saying around pickleball and like, okay, so I'm just gonna use you as an example of like, okay, I don't have great social skills, like I don't know how to do this, but this actually creates a beautiful container for you to practice and do those things in a less intense manner, right? Where there's a focus, there's an
Yep.
intention. I actually don't have to talk to you and
Hmm.
can't talk to you in that way. Like
They've
part
been
of that,
inviting me for lunch afterwards, and I'm like, oh no. Oh,
oh, too far, too far.
do that. You're not going to like me anymore if we have to sit down and have a conversation.
That's not true, but also, right, you get to draw that boundary. But that's because you know your operating system pretty well, right? Of like, okay, I want to do this. How can I create a space that feels good for me to keep expanding in that way and also not have to like hate it at the
Mhm.
same time. And I think we don't necessarily always think about that from a social perspective because there's a lot of like, you should like join this networking group or do this speed dating friend network thing or whatever. There's lots of options out there and
Mhm.
options are great. It's great that we have lots of options because there's lots of people and different people that have different perspectives on this, right? So I just come back always to the best thing you can start to do is learn your personal operating system so then you can start to choose the things that are aligned for your growth in particular and where those like growth edges are so that you can go say, "Ooh, I can do pickleball. Yes, I can do that. I can't do lunch, but I'm going to do pickleball and
Mhm.
that's going to push me a little bit." And then you know what? Maybe one of these days you're going to do lunch and it's going to be good and you're going to like I have 30 minutes for lunch and I'm going to create a safe container for myself, right? Like that's how we continue to evolve and grow is like creating like those, like you said, that spiral, but like the spiral keeps going. It's just ensuring that we kind of create that safety for ourselves as we kind of push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be scary at first. Everything, like, it's okay to do things afraid.
Yes.
It's okay to do things scared. Um, I've been taking jujitsu also since February, and I love it, but I've never not had an anxiety attack, like a social anxiety attack on my way there. Like the drive there, every single time, I'm like, it's okay. And like breathing exercises, like relax your shoulders, create some space in your neck, ground your energy. It's okay. And you get there, and who knows how I come off because I'm just like blinders up, go in, start stretching, don't speak unless spoken to, don't know how to really. But once things get going, then it's wonderful. And I can once we start practicing, I can allow all of my walls to fall down, and I'm much more comfortable with my partner and my training partner, and then the people in my immediate vicinity, and we can chat and cut up and laugh, and everything's wonderful. So, like, because I have people all the time, they're like, because I'm like, well, just go do the thing. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're just gonna do the things with it." Yeah. Uh, they're- And they tell me they're like, I have people say things to me like, "I wish I didn't care what people think the way you do, and I wish I was as confident as you are." And I like, you don't even know you've never listened to my podcast, have you? Which is fine. I don't.
That's a
I'm not.
different topic and we will come back to that one.
I'm not one of those people that's like, anyway. But I've built every bit of everything I do around anxiety and especially social anxiety because that was just the epitome of who I was. I was so scared stiff and I always relate. myself to Raj in The Big Bang Theory, where, but instead of him not being able to talk to women specifically, I couldn't talk to anybody at all whatsoever, one person at a time, and that was it. And so I have people that have known me, probably not now, but 10 years ago, it was true that I had people who have known me my entire 25 years of life and never heard me say two words. Like they had been to my house. I had been to their house. Like people that I had gone K through 12 with, and their parents knew my parents, and they had never heard me say a single word because I was so scared stiff of people and to talk and to be social. Like, so people are, nothing breaks my heart more than to have someone confide in me and how they wish that they had community and a support system and people they could turn to. But then when I invite them to yoga class or pickleball or, some of these places where we could start to build those things for them, they're too anxious to show up.
Mhm, mhm.
Kills me. And they're like, you don't get it. I get it.
I get it. I get it. I have a pretty constant refrain with my daughter who can be very social and bubble and all these things, but every once in a while a thing pops up where I don't know what's happening for her exactly. I mean, she's 6, so like she can't quite articulate it for herself yet either, which in some ways is good, right? Because she hasn't applied any labels to anything that happens. But when she was smaller, even she had this with swim lessons, and she would just lose it. And so we just started practicing then and still do it today that two things can be true. I can be terrified out of my mind and brave at the same time. Like
Mhm.
I can be both of those things at the same time. That is true. And I personally have that from, I don't even like to say this anymore because I'm like, I think I perpetuate the fear, but I have had a fear of heights. And my whole life, I come up against situations where this is out of my comfort zone and I get to choose. Am I going to be brave and do it anyways, even though am freaking out and having a panic attack? Or am I going to miss out on the thing that's happening, right? Like that's the choice. My friends are going to do this. I either get to participate and like overcome my fear, or I get to say no and go a different direction. And sometimes I say no because I don't care about Ferris wheels. There's not any enjoyment to that for
Me
me.
neither. I agree. No, I'm good.
I just, no, thank
So
you.
pretty
So pretty. Yeah, they're
from the
gorgeous.
ground. From the
So
ground.
they're actually invented in my hometown, by the way, which is kind of funny. But
Oh,
um, but there are other things where it's like, we're gonna take this tram in New York City and like we're all gonna go over to this island and da da da, and we're gonna do it together. And I'm like, this is terrifying to me, but I'm gonna do it. And I may be sitting on the floor crying and bawling my eyes out while we do this, but like I'm not missing this. Right? But that's just a physical example of the internal anxiety of like, well, I get to choose and I'm choosing, and that's okay. Whatever choice is good for you in the moment. But remember that you have the option to choose and to be brave and scared at the same time. And that's quite frankly even more brave than just being brave.
yeah.
Uh,
And if you
yeah.
can be radically honest with yourself and others, that opens up the door to bonding. And if you're like all the time, like I can't sit still very often. And like doing an hour and a half podcast sometimes kills me because I'm like antsy. I have to find something to fidget with. Um, but I'll sometimes I do go to people's houses and hang out, which is I can't stand to do because I can't just sit there and
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But
Visit. We're gonna visit. That's what we called it in the Midwest.
yes, yes. Uh, so they'll be like, Savannah, can you sit down? You're making me nervous. I'm like, well, I'm having a panic attack just by being here. So standing helps. But if you're like, and you go out in public and you're like, sorry, I have to like panic about this for a second because all of us have those moments where we're talking to a cashier or a waiter at a restaurant or somebody somewhere, something, somebody at a desk, who knows what's going on, and they ask us a question and we short circuit
Yeah.
and we can't think of what to say. And it's just like, just our mind's blank, right? If we can just be honest with them and ourselves and be like, hold on, let me short circuit for a second. I found that just being honest about what's going on with you at the moment, most of the time everybody laughs, and it makes it relaxes the stress of the moment. And then everybody's, I've never had anybody be mean to me or make it worse in that situation. 100% of the time, anytime I've been like, sorry, I'm having a panic attack right now, or hold on, I'm short circuiting, or hold on, my mind just went blank. Give me just a second to take a deep breath. But everybody's always super nice and they're like, "Oh, okay. No, that's you're fine. You're fine. Do you need help? What do we need to do?" So I think we all have this again, we beat ourselves up for being not the picture of who we expect or we feel like we should be.
Yeah. I think all of those situations allow us to be human.
Human. Yes.
Whatever reason, we're trying to attain a level of humanness that is just not actual humanness. It's
No, not at all. It's
right.
AI-ness.
Yeah.
Robot.
It's robots, it's machines. Like they operate
It's
on
those
a,
right angles again.
yeah, it's right. Like there is not a right angle in nature. There's not one. And we
Mm,
are part of nature.
mm,
And yes, it like makes you human. And like that is where the connection happens between two humans rather than two robots. They are never going to have the interaction and exchange that we have because they have protocols. Right? And we have that opportunity to create that connection. And I was thinking about that as you were saying the jujitsu. Like when you say that about kind of having that human moment, and I have lots of them where I'm like, wow, I was just going to introduce you to, and both of your names completely evaporated from my brain. Like that happens to everybody. I am not alone, but me actually voicing that out loud allows everybody to kind of breathe and the energy moves, right? Just like you were saying. And I think about that with your jujitsu. Like you go in and you've got this tense energy at the moment that you come in, but once you start moving your body, you move that energy and it supports you in that way. And it's a similar concept, right? That whether it's using the words and speaking the truth or moving the body in a way that allows you to be comfortable, like that's all that is. That's
mhm.
being
Yeah, allowing ourselves to be human is something I think we're all learning how to do.
1000%. I mean, it is what I feel. This is going to be a bizarre statement, but it is feels like the reason I am put on this planet is to teach us how to be humans, which is like you can't say that to most people because what? We are humans. But to be honest, like how many of us learned how to be human?
Humans are messy.
Yeah,
We're
they're
messy. And we don't, again, there's those right angles. We don't feel like we're allowed to be messy. We don't feel like we're so, we have to like have everything figured out and it be a clear-cut direction and know exactly the linear development of A plus B equals C. But A plus B doesn't always equal C. Sometimes it equals F and G and D and who knows what it means. Sometimes it equals numbers.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Sometimes it equals things that I didn't even like
Equals
think to
cat.
come anywhere near, right? Yeah, cat. Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Right? Like, oh, okay, but somehow it makes sense. And yeah, I just, I feel like this conversation, both from like a community aspect so that we can actually interact with each other, like a big part of it just comes back to I keep referring to it because we're all tech obsessed right at this point, which is like, okay, you've learned how your computer works, but have you ever swapped computers with a coworker or a significant other? It could be literally the exact same computer and it does not, you're like, what is happening here? Like that, okay, I don't know how to use this device. It's going to take me a few minutes to kind of reorient myself. Like that is the human experience too. And we live in our experience so much that we forget that the computer next to us has a wildly different experience. And they're both great and true. And how do I do a better job of learning why I've set mine up the way I do, like the size of my font, or the colors that I use, or the motions that I prefer, right? All of those things are true for our bodies too. Like we were
Mhm.
talking about with the consistency and the devotion and that I just, mine does not work that way. I am not setting up my construct to be done that way. And it just takes some time to learn our own so that we can say, oh, okay, so here's how I set mine up. Well, how do you set yours up? And then we can have that conversation that's like, oh, okay, well, if I go connect my computer with yours, we're going to have to like figure out some new wires here because mine's not going to talk
Mhm.
to yours the same way, right? Like, but first we got to know our own because I don't know how to adjust to yours until I know what mine needs.
Yeah, and another thing is that consistency in the traditional sense isn't conducive to family and friends. So the more people, that's the funny thing is that, we all want loved ones in our lives, but the more loved ones you have, the harder it is to be consistent with anything. Everything's just up in the air all the time,
Oh my gosh. Well, because you're a different version of yourself each and
every single day too.
every single day. Every day, and especially women, right? Like love
Yeah.
our men and they rise and set with the sun. We cycle with the moon. And it's
Hmm.
like, is it the same day every day? Is that real for you? Like, oh, I don't want that life. I'm cool. I'm good. I like my inconsistency consistent. But yeah, I mean, how you interface with your significant other versus your kid, your older kid, your younger kid, a boy, a girl, right? Like all these are like different factors and components to like how you show up in that moment. And I think it's so important to be grounded in who you are so that you can show up authentically in all of those versions, right? Like,
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of shade being thrown in this way in the world where people want you to be the exact same person in every single situation.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, if I showed up that way there and then this way there, people, well, wait, which person are they? And it's like, well,
Hmm.
you caught this one at the grocery store or dealing with their 2-year-old, and you caught this one at work. Like, of course they're going to be different. They're vastly different situations, right? And how do we actually start to me, that comes back to like grounding and centering in yourself and like knowing who you are and that you adjust who you are, but still have that center pole, right? Like that, like okay, this is me at my best. This is my I can't help it. This is my like I need this to be able to go out in public. I need this to be able to be calm. I need to be able to be moving. Moving is going to support me best. My son is very similar. Like we call him a shark, right? Like he's not learning. He just needs to move while he's learning. Sitting still means that nothing's happening. Um
I like that analogy because for people who don't know, sharks have to move in order to breathe or they drown.
yes, exactly. And you're reading him a story, he's doing 8 other things, he's bouncing around the room, and it's like, and then he can tell you exactly what just happened in the story because that's just how he breathes, is movement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the more you can like ground yourself in that truth for yourself, then you can say, okay, well, in each of these situations, how do I need to apply myself, or what do I need to be able to be most supportive for that unique situation? But um, it's hard. It's really hard because most of us are brought up in a way where it's like, no, you just need to be this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing you are. And they're like, it early in my career, it always felt really inauthentic. And yet I couldn't quite figure out why I always felt like this. I would go to work. I just moved halfway across the country. I didn't know anybody. I lived with a new roommate that I didn't even really know. Like everything is new in my world. And I'm going to work, and it's like, you have to show up and do a good job. And I was like forced into a situation in 3 days in. And it was pretty traumatic for me just because, like, well, I mean, my whole system had been reset. Like, I don't know who I am right now. And this is like, I'm still processing. Like, can you give me a hot minute? And it's like, uh, the world was like, no. And for me, it was then I got into this situation where it was like, I can't share this part of my world in this container, even though it's dramatically impacting this container, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I I don't have any friends. I don't have anything to do. I've moved myself away from everything
No
that has
foundation.
no foundation, right? And yet I had to show up at work and be
Stable.
stable and like really good at my job and like show how great that I just gotten this promotion that moved me halfway across the country. And I
Mm,
could do those things, but also like, can I get a little support for the fact that like even if I am still that person, like everything else has changed. And so like this part of me is gonna need a hot second to like
mm-hmm.
maybe you could give me a minute, right? Because I kind of only got a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just always like I just remember having these very weird moments where it was like, yeah, things are great. I'm fine. I'm doing the job. I'm making the things happen. Well, like everything else was like chaos kind of in my head. And I was like, don't share that. That can't come into this container. That has to stay out there. That's not allowed here.
Yeah,
And
compartmentalizing.
yeah, yeah. It's just not how we work.
Mm-mm. No, we are expected to compartmentalize everything. So like, at pickleball, only pickleball things. At jujitsu, only jujitsu things. We can't talk about our home life and expect the same support as we would with people that we're close to. But the catch 22 is that you can't become close to people without talking about these things. So like, so we're all stuck in like surface level like yearning for this deeper level, but we can't. We've burned all the bridges that connect the two. So many people don't know who they are, and I think the way that we figure out who we are is through creating space
Yeah.
and coming back to our priorities, checking in with our energy, all pretty much a lot of the stuff that we talked about in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, and I think, part of what I love that you're saying there is the in those situations, like this is the uncomfortableness, right? That actually allows us to forge the connections and to grow a little bit is to say the thing.
Be
Like,
an oversharer.
yeah, be an overshare. I'm a total overshare.
I am too.
I'm so bad.
I have like social hangovers almost
I
every
know.
because
Like, why did I say that? Why?
I can because I've pickleball has taught me how to small talk a little bit better. So I can do that a little bit better than I used to be able to. I used to couldn't at all. It was deep or nothing. And that's why I just didn't talk because I made everyone uncomfortable when I did.
Yeah, but I can only imagine. I mean, first of all, you do this beautiful thing called a podcast, which is that gift in IRL, right? Like, which is important. And I would offer that so many times the reason that the community comes together is that one person says the unspoken thing that everybody in the room feels or experiences, but not everybody's brave enough to say. And so the oversharers are so important. I think of them instead as the sparks, right? Like I've been a spark before. I had a son who was a shark and he didn't fit into kindergarten. And I said that out loud to all the other moms. Like, anybody else feel like this is a terrible container for your boy? And they were like, oh my God, me too. I didn't know, I thought I was the only one, right? And immediately it broke the ice and the whole energy of the group and the conversation. And now I have multiple friends that have become good friends. Maybe we trauma bonded. I don't know. But that's okay. We needed it. We needed that support system. We were all alone. And if somebody doesn't say the thing, then yeah, we stay at the surface and there never becomes depth. And I don't want to live in that world either. So whatever, if it doesn't land for you, it doesn't land for you, and that's fine. And there were some girl moms there that were like, really? And I have a girl too. And they were like, oh no, everything's fine. And I was like, oh, good for you.
Yeah. I
Not so
also
much over here.
I also have one of each. And I don't I people keep telling me it's because he's a boy and she's a girl, but also like her personality type and his personality type, like we're pretty sure he's like ADHD or something. And you know what? She might be too as further we go, but there's those boxes that we all hate to put ourselves in and whatnot. But the point of this story being is that my daughter also does beautifully in a traditional school setting. So that's what she does. My son, we have struggled so badly from preschool on with traditional school setting. So we finally made the jump to taking him out of the traditional setting this past year. So this August he started a it's a hybrid. So it's he does all of his schoolwork at home on the computer with me. And then he goes to school for project-based learning twice a week.
Cool.
And he's thriving. He's wonderful. We've never had such a good school experience with him ever. And it was really hard because, as a parent, you want to do for both what you do for one. You don't want to be like, well, you're over here and you're over here because that you don't want to like seem unfair or anything. But that was a big thing for us. But the truth of the matter is that every single person on this planet has a different operating system, therefore different needs.
Different needs. That's
Hmm.
all. Like, and I love what you said about like let's not paint ourselves into that box, right? Because that could be true, but that's just his operating
Yeah,
system.
it
Like,
doesn't matter. Not
it,
not if you're willing to just like they help a lot. Diagnoses and whatnot help a lot for understanding what you're working with and
yeah,
figuring out your operating system. But I don't even like we're all undiagnosed neurodivergence over here. Like every single one of us, probably not my husband. He's very typical and normal, but the other three of us are very not. And but we don't go to the doctor and get a diagnosis because we don't there's no reason to put ourselves in the box unless we need the box for other things. So, for example, if my daughter does struggle with reading, she might be dyslexic. We don't know. But right now, they are giving her the extra reading help that she needs, and we're working on it. If the day comes where they need the paperwork to be able to get her more help or different help or whatever, whatever, then sure, a diagnosis is important. But putting yourself in that box on paper doesn't necessarily change anything because, I mean, you can be self-diagnosed and then take that onto the internet and be like, okay, what's working for other people who fall into this box? Okay, let me try throwing some of those noodles at the wall. So, like, I recently discovered my diagnoses a couple of years ago, and I went back and forth about being officially diagnosed, the pros, the cons, for the longest time. And I even like scheduled appointments, and then I'd cancel them, and then I'd schedule them again, and then I'd cancel them. And then at the end of the day, I was like, well, as an adult who isn't submitted to like the constructs of like standard education or anything like that. There's nothing specific that I need on paper for it. The only thing it would give me would be security in myself to be like, yes, I am this. And then other people would probably maybe treat me nicer because of it or be a little bit more patient with me because of it. But at the end of the day, we should all just be more patient with everybody anyway. So,
everybody's got something.
mm,
Everybody has something. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that. Everybody has something, whatever
everybody.
it is. It doesn't matter because you are uniquely you and there is nobody else like you. And so, can we just be kinder to people? Because we can't see most of them.
Mm,
Like, we've done a lot to like talk about the things we can see, but actually, probably just like icebergs, like most of it is under the water that you can't see,
mm-hmm,
right? So like you have it. Let's just project that out as kindness to others, not knowing what's under their iceberg and just operate in the world that way. I think I love what you said about that, that it truly is like all of those things are tools and how we use them. I think a lot of those tools um, can unfortunately create negative swirls rather than positive swirls because it feels disheartening. But at the same time, weren't you just that way a couple days ago? Like let's use this as new information to access new tools to better utilize our operating system or understand it or grow in that capacity and just learn, I mean, you're amazing just the way you are. Like, let's just be us. Like that allows me to have these superpowers. I get really wildly optimistic in this world and like just be like burst everybody with sunshine. Like you are amazing. Like I want your operating system to be yours. I don't want you to be anybody else's. I don't want you to be a copy. That would be boring. That's what my
Hmm.
grandmother used to say to me. Like, wouldn't the world be a boring place if we were all the same? I'm like,
Hmm.
yes, totally. So boring.
Yeah. I think the with the internet and the connection that we all have to each other and the knowledge and the information now available has opened up a whole lot of doors, which is awesome because it's, opening up more doors means opening up more tools to figure out how to navigate this world and cope because honestly, that's all any of us are trying to do is cope. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's also again with the positive also comes the negative.
Yeah.
So we get stuck and put too much into some of these things. And although awareness and understanding is a wonderful and beautiful thing, it has also led us to pathologizing the human experience. So instead of like, oh, what's wrong with me? Or, oh, I have this diagnosis or that diagnosis, we're just humans. And every single one of us are, you know, we're
Yeah.
rough around the edges somewhere somehow.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it just comes from,
Messy.
yeah, we're all messy. We're all works in progress constantly. I just don't think we would be here in this body if we weren't that way. And I think about that all the time. Like, if I weren't learning and growing every day, I think I'd be done. Like, what else am I doing, right? And I think obviously there's more to it than that at the same time, but um, I think it comes back to what we were saying before around um, two things can be true, right? I can have this diagnosis and I can continue to learn and grow in that way. Like it is a tool and a resource and a knowledge base that then I can expand and grow into, no matter what that is. And, I've had a lot I've been doing around my nervous system and calming my nervous system and accessing that just to feel good in my body because I've had a lot of chronic pain. Um, and that's not something people can see, but that's something that like impacts me every day. I actually didn't realize how much. And so everybody's got that, but that didn't stop me from doing certain things, maybe to my dismay, but I kept plowing through it, right? And so it's like I can be diagnosed ADHD and still be brave to learn about it and say, okay, how am I gonna use this new knowledge to do the next thing that I want to do, right? Like just continuing to refine and understand ourselves better to choose our next step and where we want to go and how we want to play. Yeah.
Hmm. Be gentle with ourselves.
Yeah.
Stop beating ourselves up.
Exactly, exactly. Like I can take it this way, or I could take it this way and say this is new information. Okay, cool. A lot of more things make sense, and this is what's going to be most supportive for me. And now I'm going to go this direction, and that feels great.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and
Mhm.
that could be due to this or that if you want to call it due to this or that, or just, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, period, point blank.
Yes, that's it.
Mhm.
That end of sentence. Like that is it. And I think the more we can learn about each of those, the more successful we can feel in feeling happy and feeling well. And why I love the word well-being over wellness is it's because it's an active verb,
Hmm.
right? Like it is constantly you're being, you not are, right? Like it's not stagnant, it's regenerative. You're always being, you're always evolving. And so, what is what you said it like earlier with our like this moment in life, like this is what's happening right now. So, this is how what feels supportive for my well being right now versus 6 months ago versus 12 years from now. Like, all of it's going to be constantly evolving. And so, the more we can learn about what feels good for us, because I don't think many of us take the breath or the moment to like even tune into that, then the better we can navigate as that evolves because it's always changing for us. Yeah.
Yeah, healing anything, mentally, emotionally, physically, as well as learning how to cope. It all comes back to radical awareness in the now,
Yeah,
the power of now.
you know it. You know it. It is the one truth. Yeah.
So, tell us what all you've got going on right now. We'll start wrapping this up.
Okay.
It's
It's
gone
like,
by
oh,
so
we're gonna start
fast.
that now? No, I can. Yeah, a lot has changed since we talked last time. Evolved, not changed. And is real in a way that I couldn't have even imagined, and it's awesome. The Human Array has officially launched the Holistic Health Hub, which is my my personal desire to organize the internet in a curated and vetted way. Just meaning that there's a lot of resources from a well-being perspective that are out there, whether that's products, practitioners, courses, resources, etc. And so my goal is to actually connect a fragmented system because I believe health should be holistic, and that doesn't mean that there's lots of slices to the pie.
Lots and
One
lots.
of them being traditional medicine, and absolutely it should be a slice of the pie, but it's not the whole pie. And so, how do we help more people become educated in their operating system? In understanding all the modalities that are just going to help them learn their operating system better. And on top of that, what we have is our well-being concierge, which is creating a personalized and custom experience for you. So as you navigate what feels good to you, we help provide you with resources, practitioners, products, etc., books, podcasts, whatever that happens to be, that are going to be supportive for you at this moment based on what's coming up for you in your world and your life and your own operating system. Um, and then the easiest way to get started is we just launched a new newsletter called The Daily Dose. And every day we send a 2-minute read on either a part of the body, um, related to pain, a modality, etc. Just a daily dose of holistic health. And that journey always kicks off with kind of a body wisdom scan. Like, not everybody knows about the fascia system or the lymphatic system. And I think of it as the health class we never got.
Yeah,
Like, it's funny actually as I like lean further into that thought, it's like, you don't even start health class until middle school, maybe.
mm,
Um, And so it's really just my intention to create a holistic health space that is educational, that has, good alignment and energy. Now, not everybody's going to be a good match for everything, and that's okay. It's just that we're bringing in the people and products and companies that have good intentions and really are trying to educate for a healthier world. And so that's the mission, and that's what we're building. And a lot is happening right now. And I would be remiss if I didn't also say that in that process, aligned to our community goals, we're actually doing an equity crowd fundraise, which means that you can own a piece of the company for as little as $100. And my goal is really to build the company as a community effort, that the holistic space is we're all fragmented. Like, let's come together and like we talk about this as like turning whispers into a roar. Like, the more that we come together in a community aspect and say, like, it's amazing that this swell is happening, that the energy is moving in this direction. How can we come together and make it even stronger and better together? And so, one of the mechanisms that we're doing for that is step into that energy with us and actually own be a part of it, like own a part of the company and help us make it bigger and better. So, yeah, that's what's happening.
that's awesome. I think a lot of things, I think we should move in that direction towards like with a lot of things. Um, I don't know what the company's called. I don't remember any of the details. I just remember the concept that was told to me about how there's this new movie production agency or something where it's community owned and for like it wasn't any more than like $300. I think there was different price ranges that you could invest in the company, but then you get votes on what movie they're going to make. So everybody's in like everybody has the input and say and whatnot. I thought that was really cool. I think that all things should be ran like that.
That's so cool. I know the platform we're running our fundraise on um, has several movies that are on there as well that like people can help bring the stories they want to see to life. I just think that's so cool. Like, I mean, this is kind of an emerging space. It's been since I think 2012, which is a while ago, but since this was like approved to be a mechanism for equity crowdfunding, I think more people should know about it because it really allows you, especially when the world is kind of in the space that it is right now of people aren't really sure where to invest themselves, their time, their energy, their dollars, etc. Like things feel really chaotic, and where I would have done this before doesn't feel quite right anymore. So knowing that these things are options that you can actually like stand behind something in that way
Mhm.
uh, feels really cool to me. So there's glimmers, just like you said. There's pros and cons everywhere. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of us are, there's a lot of pressure with being free because, okay, great, I can do anything, but I can't do everything. So can someone please tell me where to focus?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of us struggle with that. And also, I also agree that we were not taught how to communicate with our body and understand it. I have a lot of people, because I do restorative yoga, it's not like the vinyasa style that most people are used to. So we're focused on healing. And I had somebody just a couple of days ago, she had injured her back and she was asking me what kind of stretches and stuff that she needs to do. And I was telling her what I knew, and I was like, somebody else contacted me last week about their own back issues, and I did this whole thing for them, so I'll send you their information. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, the biggest thing you can do is to just communicate with it, really
Listen.
hone into the area and let it speak to you. Scan over every little inch and just allow whatever information comes up to come up, because our body is always trying to communicate with us about what it needs and how to heal it. And we are capable of doing this if we just open up those channels and listen.
Listening, listening, which means you got to create that space to listen. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this has been wonderful. I always enjoy talking to you, and I can't wait to do it again at a future time. I've been trying to go back and find all the episodes of people that I really enjoyed talking to and just like, hey, what's up? It's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been three. What's new? Let's talk about it.
I love that. I love that. Because, yeah, it's evolved, right? It's
Yeah.
grown, it's changed, and that's awesome. I love that. It's always a good conversation with you. So thank you for reaching out and for creating this space to have it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I love talking to you and I love your heart. You can really tell that it's in the right place, and that's what that's all it is, you know. Just
Yeah.
for all of us.
Yeah.
We get confused, but as long as our heart's in the right place, it'll be okay.
It will be. It will be. Love it. Thank you,
All right.
Savannah.